Earlier this year, Time Inc. announced its collaboration with MediaMath to make print magazine audiences available to advertisers using its programmatic marketplace so that media buying agencies would have the ability to target specific audience categories across a variety of Time Inc. titles. Today, we're fortunate to hear from the architects of this first print programmatic platform, Andy Blau, Senior Vice President, Advertising Sales and Marketing at Time Inc., and Sam Cox, Vice President, Open Global Media Partnerships at MediaMath. They're going to share insights into how they assembled the technology stack to make print programmatic possible, the process and communication, and what does 2.0 of print programmatic look like?
Okay, so we started looking into programmatic. Essentially, Time Inc. launched a Time Inc. Global Exchange about 2 years ago with Google when we realized that the Time Inc. network as a whole was essentially an ultra-premium network that really had a great draw for advertisers. And so we launched that. We have 143 million global reach. We have 95 million unique visitors across our desktop, mobile, and 65 million monthly mobile unique. So a fairly large-scale ultra-premium network, not quite the size of a Google or Yahoo, but sizable nonetheless. We decided that our position in the marketplace would be that we are the largest content and advertising network really within an ultra-premium environment, a brand-safe environment, an environment that really is conducive to the best brands of advertisers. And you can see these are all very well-known brands here in the US, and we have about 90 of those in the UK as well. The key was to really committing to programmatic in a very aggressive and simple way, where we wanted to make programmatic very much a part of our advertising revenue positioning in the marketplace. We have desktop global scale. We offer mobile. We offer video. We offer very, very well-established data solutions. So that is our programmatic foundation. And that's really where this all started a couple of years ago as programmatic started growing in the marketplace and Time Inc. started seeing a revenue stream that was much more sizable than we originally expected. So what we actually offer programmatically on the digital side, we offer two things. We offer a private auction place, which is fully transparent. We essentially offer all of our premium ad units. We do not hold back much at all. We offer data targeting. We've even onboarded all of our offline data from our large subscriber base of about 35 million people. We also do some open auction. We try to push as few impressions into the open auction as possible, but we do use blind site. It's generally a blind auction there, and we do have block lists and default price floors. We use Rubicon as one of our SSPs, supply-side platforms, and DoubleClick Google Ad Exchange as the other. It was really the realization that there were tremendous programmatic budgets being created that were parallel to the direct sold budgets. We offer everything in our stack. We don't really hold back. We allow advertisers to choose which way they want to execute their buy, whether it's through an insertion order or through a programmatic purchase. The key for us, though, was trying to figure out who was the best partner to then look at print programmatic. And I'll talk about print programmatic in a minute, but really the key was finding Sam Cox and MediaMath as an extremely viable and open partner to looking at this and really challenging the marketplace and doing print programmatic.
So when Andy came to me with this, it was something that was a little bit outside of what I would think MediaMath would traditionally look at. We are a digital company. We are a demand-side platform that works with marketers to help them achieve their goals. And when I joined MediaMath a year and a half ago, the company was really positioning itself, or starting to position itself, as a enterprise software to look across all forms of media, and that's not just digital. And so part of my remit is not just to manage the exchanges, not just to manage publisher relationships, but also to try and figure out how to take types of media that are currently not addressable in a programmatic fashion and to make them programmatic. When Andy presented this to us, MediaMath looked and said, print programmatic. And the more we got into it, because I didn't know very much about print, the more and more sense it made. So our goal as MediaMath is to help marketers manage 100% of their digital spend, and it also now is extending to non-digital spend. And we provide a complete solution. So there's data management, media management, creative management, measurement and analytics. We have a marketing collective for our retail business, platform APIs, decisioning and optimization, and now up there would be print. So it really is a platform where we're trying to connect all the different parts of a very fractured ecosystem, and the opportunity to look at print was something new and novel that we had never considered, but seemed to make a lot of sense, and the work that Time Inc. had done and the thinking that they had put behind it made it line up very much with our values and made it a product that we wanted to work on. And what we've seen over the past few years is really the growth of programmatic. And this is MediaMath. We started 7 years ago, and we've grown to $750 million in revenue on programmatic. And that's a massive shift, and I think that we've seen that across the board, and that's what Andy's been working on in Time Inc. shifting, and we are on the other side of that coin. So the kind of the growth in our customer set, it started to make sense to look at print programmatic.
Okay, so those of you who just walked in, perfect timing, because we haven't actually talked about print programmatic yet. Up until this point, it's just been us giving you the kind of the spiel, what Time Inc. is in the marketplace. So let me now start the story of print programmatic. So essentially, several members of my staff is here from Programmatic, and they're digital natives. You could tell digital natives because they wear jeans and a shirt like Sam, not a suit. So, all right, we've got to liven up this group a little bit. Okay, beards,
like that, all that stuff.
So I actually sat down with my staff and I said, Programmatic is going so well, and it really was at that time, and it still is. Why can't we do print programmatically? And the initial response from several members who actually are here was, you can't do print programmatically. It's way too expensive. Digital buyers would never pay $50, $60, $100 CPMs. So I said, well, wait a second. Go do some homework and go look at the rate card for People magazine, publicly available. Tell me what the open rate is and tell me what the audience is and do the math. They didn't do their homework. I had to tell them because I don't do their homework. So they come back the next day and I said, okay, so what's the open rate card rate for a page in People magazine? $345,000. What's the audience? 42 million. Do the math, $8.12 CPM. Okay, now People is a pretty hot book, but even they discount a little bit. So let's just assume a 50% discount, $4.06 CPM. That just happens to be what our external rate card is in programmatic for buying Time Inc. network as a run of network, right? So $4 to $6 is generally the rates that we charge, and then it goes up from there up to $45 depending on what units you're buying. So the fact is that on an audience basis, and I will always say on an audience basis, not circulation, the CPMs that we have in the marketplace for print are almost identical, surprisingly, to our digital CPMs. And the original intention was, how do we get digital buyers who are coming to MediaMath and other DSPs to look at print and buy print as simply as they buy digital with pricing that's very similar? That was the key. And then, so we really, and having the partner and the collaboration with MediaMath, essentially what we wanted to do in version 1.0 print programmatic was we wanted to leverage our print scale. We have massive scale in print. And we want to then add onto it the targeted aspects of digital audience. Because in version 1.0 print programmatic, you can do broad-based buys across many segments, but you can't target quite at the level that we'd like to in the future, which we'll talk about. So engage with millions of readers, and then leverage first-party data to precision target. So do a true multimedia buy across multiple platforms using similar data. So the cross-platform programmatic program at Time Inc., it's innovative, it's scalable, it's flexible, and it's really simple. And that was the key. Keep this really simple for the digital buyer who's not used to buying print. So what we did is we created essentially just 6 segments to start with: women, men, lifestyle, rapid scale, business, finance, and luxury. And we offer the audience in multiples of 5 million all the way up to 89 million. And so you essentially, we'll show you a quick slide, but you can just go on to the MediaMath DSP, you'll click on print for Time Inc., and there are the segments. Pick the segment, pick how much audience you want to buy, upload your creative, the deal's done.
And if you looked at the slide before, you have print programmatic combined with the digital. And this is what really got me interested, because if you think and extend that arc out, and we have a lot of very large retail clients, people like Target, LL Bean, those clients are going to want to support very local, specific advertising within DMAs. They're going to want to do it in print. They're going to want to do it in linear TV. They're going to want to do it in connected TV. They're going to want to do it in digital. They're going to want to do it in mobile. And they're going to want to be able to close the loop and attribute the value of their marketing to in-store sales or online sales. And when I saw that combination, it seemed like, well, how do we get to that kind of Valhalla, that promised land down the road? This was the first step. And people are looking at connected TVs and looking at all these things, but no one had looked at print. And that's a really important part of the marketing mix. Despite the rise of digital, it is undeniable that print is still a massive part of the media mix for all of the buyers. So for us, it was an investment with Time Inc. to say, if we believe in the future that programmatic does not have to be real time, programmatic does not have to be bidded, programmatic doesn't even have to be digital, and marketers are going to want to be able to buy audiences across all of their media, we need to start now. And to have a partner that came and had the capabilities to actually execute against print programmatic was very novel. And since we've launched it, the amount of people who've come and would like to do it is amazing, and the amount that have the capabilities that Time Inc. has are very few. So it was really a unique partnership and a unique opportunity for us.
So we'll get into some of the details of exactly what it is, but essentially what it is audience buying across aggregated magazines, right? So normally when people buy digital, they buy audiences. When we sell print, we frequently sell a brand which has an audience. Now you can buy a specific audience across the Time Inc. network of brands. So the advertiser chooses one of the offered audience segments. They choose one of those 6. We'll have many more in the future, which we'll talk about Programmatic 2.0 and where we're going with that. The audience segments run across multiple titles. So they're not picking the brands, we are, but we are ensuring that they get the audience, and we give that assurance with an MRI report. It requires some level of issue flexibility. We say that, but we bend over backwards to make sure the client gets exactly what they want. And it does require some positioning flexibility. Same thing there. This is not remnant pages in magazines. It's not back a book. This is 100% premium positioning and everything else you would normally get. The pricing is not differentiated. You're not paying lower pricing to get print programmatic. You're essentially paying the aggregated CPM that you would normally pay. So there's nothing about the Time Inc. programmatic stack that is cheap. There's nothing about it that is real-time bidding and inexpensive. We charge the same CPMs whether you're buying direct from our sales staff or you're buying through programmatic technology. For us, programmatic is simply your choice of, or when I say your choice, an advertiser's choice for how they want to execute their purchase of the media. That's all it is.
And I would agree with the not cheap part, by the way. So, we routinely are spending $25 CPMs even within the digital with Time Inc. So when people think of real-time bidding, they think of programmatic, they think of race to the bottom. I think one of the key values of this partnership is we recognize that that's not going to be sustainable long term. And so how can we add value to both sides of the equation? So the digital packages that accompany the print are also premium. They're from the top of the pile. They're the type of things that you would buy on a direct committed basis if you were to go to Time Inc.'s sales team. And they're not cheap. So we're not looking at remnant perishable inventory. We're looking at high quality inventory. And the digital segments running in parallel gives that multi-touch, multimedia experience for the buyer so that they have a companion between the two. They're targeting the same audiences through Time Inc. in both places.
So in fact, to prove to you that it's not cheap, that in 3 of our last quarterly earnings, actually in all of our quarterly earnings since we've gone public, we have announced that programmatic CPMs are increasing. In fact, we're seeing that continuing today because the scarcity of high quality impressions is there, right? There aren't that many companies that provide the kind of breadth and depth of Time Inc. in terms of high quality impression levels. So ultra premium is very much a selling point now in the marketplace for us. Every ad and content network says they're premium. We think we're at one hell of a lot more premium than everyone else. And there are probably some publishers in here that we would also agree are ultra premium. And we actually invite other publishers to do this because we think it's a great way to go out with print in a way that is innovative and it changes the way in terms of how it's purchased. So the second to last bullet point here is the most important. We guarantee the audience that you're reaching, and we do that with MRI's Ad Measure product. So 6 weeks after the campaign is over, MRI will send the advertiser a report that shows exactly how much audience they received. They'll also know which titles, brands that they actually purchased, because they don't know that coming into the actual programmatic platform initially. They know which titles could be included. They don't know which specific ones we are including. But the audience, if they buy women 25 to 54, we will prove to them with the MRI measurement that they actually received that audience with their purchase. The last thing is, because this was originally created for digital advertisers, we were not sure if they were going to have creative that are full page takeovers, which is what we like to call a full page print, and whether or not they would have that creative. So we actually will help advertisers create that creative for them if they need it. So one quick example, obviously women is a very large part of Time Inc.'s audience offering, and you can see the titles on the bottom, starting with people on my left. People is one of the largest reaching magazines in the country, probably in the world, with 42 million audience. So, obviously you're not going to get people necessarily unless you buy a large audience, but we have many other magazines that scale very highly for women and index very highly for women. So we reach 27% of all women in the US. We specifically index highly for moms with kids under the age of 18 who graduated college. So we offer from 5 million up to 55 million audience, and it is as simple as picking the audience, picking the segment, and then uploading your creative. We offer a variety of other segments as well. One of them is called Rapid Scale, which is essentially our 4 weeklies combined together for those advertisers who want to reach many, many people very quickly. The cum of this audience can be as much as 89 million within one given week, which is very rapid, not quite as rapid as digital, but pretty close. And so this is another area where we can offer a very, very broad-based reach to audiences that are desirable. So as I mentioned earlier, we use the ad measure report to report back to the advertiser exactly what they received. This is a standard ad measure report. Anyone in this room can get that with MRI, with their subscription MRI, and all advertisers use this to look at it. We don't guarantee anything but the audience reach, although there are other statistics that are included, like the audience noted that they saw it, they took an action or not, but we don't guarantee that aspect yet.
What was interesting for the digital buyers who are used to real-time reporting against real-time buying is that we've actually integrated the reporting between the two. So in their digital companion, they will have the reporting immediately. And once the MRI report comes, it actually integrates into the MediaMath system so that you can look at a consolidated view of your print and digital companion campaign.
I'll skip that. So you want to talk, this is really the simple MediaMath interface. It can't be much simpler than this.
No, so we created last year a deal discovery within programmatic digital. Deals and direct-to-publisher deals, private auctions have become a really integral part of the ecosystem. This fits squarely within that. So what we did was we created a new tab. As you can see, we have the people that we usually would work with on automated guaranteed. This is a guaranteed product, so it fits within that. You can see we also have private marketplaces, then you can see your purchases at the top. If you go into the Time Inc. print, all of a sudden the different segments that Andy had mentioned become available. You can click on them if you want to move forward, and you can start to see more details about the offering, what titles are going to be there, the price, the different volumes, the titles, what category it fits into. You can then go in and click a button and configure the deal. Do we have a screen on that? No. So you can configure the deal and you can decide what you want to buy. And that kicks off a process that communicates through to Time Inc., who has an infrastructure that allows us to upload creatives. It registers the creative. We mapped our 2 workflows so that customers know where they are in the process with Time Inc. There's a communication infrastructure so that you get a notification when your creative has passed review. And if there's any notes, you get that there. You can go back and forth and you're communicating directly with Time Inc. through this system. And then at the end, you can say, buy the deal, and all of a sudden your deal will get registered within their system. It will get registered within the MediaMath system, and you will know when your flight date is going to be, and you can start to work on the digital portion of your campaign. So we really mapped this to things that buyers within the digital space are starting to do and created it in one seamless environment.
So that is print programmatic. And it's a simple approach to making print available not just to digital buyers, but other print buyers as well. It's something that we launched with MediaMath that we're really pleased with. We've seen a good deal of take from that in terms of advertisers really interested. And there are a lot of advertisers who are really interested in version 2.0, which is where we're going to roll out a variety of segments where it is much more highly targeted than the ones we showed you earlier, where we'll have MRI measurement that can target when we selectively print and bind to those audiences. We wanted to make sure we had plenty of time for Q&A, so we have 8 minutes and 23 seconds left, which is 3 minutes more than they asked us to have. So
I might jump in and ask what's probably what the omnibus question is. Is this real and is it working? Yes, and we have not just done one client, we have done multiple clients. We have more people in pipeline who are set up, and there are committed deals that have already gone through the system. So this is real. This is not FUD or something that we're just putting up to make a shiny new product and get PR. We are actually actively selling it. Both Time Inc. is selling it, and MediaMath buyers who have traditionally not bought print are now actually starting to buy print.
questions? Please, right here.
Andy, what are these full run book pages that you run, and what do you do with the inventory or circulation that is not bought as part of the fund?
No one ever asked that question. Yeah, so here's the little secret. This is simpler than you think. And this is version 1.0, and we made it really simple. This is 100% full run. We do no selective binding in this version 1.0. We will do that in version 2.0. The problem with version 2.0, as all of you know, or most of you know, selective binding has been around since 1989. So it's not anything new. But we can't measure less than national run without MRI developing measurement tools for that. So this is 100% run. We aggregate it very carefully. We aggregate those titles very carefully to make sure there's little inefficiency, because that's our inefficiency when we have to overprint. And we make sure we choose titles that index very highly for that audience. So, for instance, women, we make sure we pick titles that are reaching essentially 90% women. So there's a relatively small amount of waste in there. The MRI audience reporting will then capture 100% because it's full run. In the next version, which will be soon, we're just waiting for MRI, frankly, to finalize their testing methodology. We'll be able to then guarantee less than national run, selectively bound audiences, not circulation, but actual audience. Does that answer it? Please.
Are there any examples where publishers are working together, partnering, different companies working together to sell audiences?
There are examples in the digital side. We have, I think I can say this, we work with Hearst on frequent deals. We're willing to work with others. We're working with the Enthusiast Network. We work with other companies on a regular basis. I think we also are part of Pangea, which is the UK Daily Mail. So in print, we haven't done yet. We're certainly open to that. But no one's really called us and asked us to do that yet, and we're more than happy to do that. 522-3044 is my phone number, or andy.blau@timeinc.com. So yeah, that's a great idea, and we are doing it digitally, and it's working really well. And it's, some of us are not, even Time Inc., which is pretty large digitally, is not big enough to compete with Yahoo directly or with Google. They're 260 million, we're 130 million. So there's still a very large difference. When we add our audiences to others, that gives us the kind of scale in a extraordinarily ultra premium environment, which is the selling point to the largest advertisers who care about brands. So that's a great question, and you'll give me your card on the way out and we'll talk. Any other questions? Please. Yes, we only do this for addressable media, which means it has an address on it where we can selectively bind. We're looking into newsstand because we know the average buyer of a People copy on the newsstand is female, but we have no way of measuring that audience and really making sure that we've delivered that. So for the most part, it'll be subscriber based. We have a corporate sales team, which is where I sit and where my staff sits, and so corporate sales is generally involved in it, although any team member from any one of our brands can sell this, and everyone gets credit. Here's the real secret. Whether it's digital programmatic or print programmatic, if you're a salesperson at a brand and you surface that deal, you get credit towards your target and you get paid for it. That was critical because programmatic, a lot of salespeople are very nervous about programmatic, and we changed that in our sales incentive programs last year, which made an enormous difference because they were hiding the deals because they didn't want to lose that from their actual book of business. And now we say, well, we give you credit for it. It's just a way of executing a deal. We still need salespeople to sell why Time Inc. or why their brand is the right brand to buy, and therefore we don't want them hiding programmatic. And programmatic is becoming a very large amount of our business, and the budgets are starting to change where programmatic or IO is irrelevant.
And we've seen that the publishers that have made the kind of changes that, that Time Inc. has made are doing much better on the programmatic side because they're salespeople. This is not the death of the salesman. As I said, there's more and more deal architecture within the digital world. You now have other products that can be complementary, such as programmatic print. So the salesperson really needs to start to understand the marketer's objectives, and what part of the publisher's inventory is going to fit against that. And so the changes that Time Inc. has made, which some publishers have done, a lot still have to work on, has really aligned things so that we can come in with deals with a client like Target and say, we'd like to do a guarantee seed buy. We'd like to make a portion of that programmatic. We'd also like to buy in a programmatic direct, a private auction, and then also do some other stuff that maybe is less targeted so that we can help kind of just prospect against the inventory. So working with a sales team is really important because we need people on the publisher side who understand the variety of their offerings, the volumes, the different price points, and how they can use those different parts of their system to meet the marketer's goals.
Two things. One, I like the idea of this new unit, the full page takeover papyrus unit.
You like that?
Brilliant.
Fully addressable media. There's an address with it.
So are you finding that those companies that are now buying from you programmatically print, were you calling on them before and not winning their business? And now, Todd's presentation this morning showed the lack of duplication, which is probably a good thing for us. So is it those untapped, or is it folks you've been calling on?
Well, so far, it's essentially clients that we've had in the past. Target was a good example, and I'll share the secret with you. Target announced a few weeks before they bought print programmatic that they were going to stop using print. So Target is a fairly large one of our customers. They were declining the last few years. As you know, print is declining, but print programmatic has suddenly gotten people to think differently. And they're thinking about it because now we're showing them that you can reach very large-scale audiences very quickly with print, and it doesn't have to be the red-headed stepchild of digital media. So we do believe that print is now being looked at in a slightly different light. We're selling print as an audience, and that's the part. The entire industry buys audiences, except for in print, where they buy brands that represent audiences. Now we're going out there and saying, if you want to buy men, women, whatever that specific segment is, you can buy it and we'll aggregate it properly for you. So I think it is starting to get people to think differently, but generally we're getting our customers or people, we have relationships with most large advertisers, but Target was a good example where we saved print based on this. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Are there any other large media publishing houses doing this?
I have a
I don't
pretty
know.
large pipeline of companies that would like to do it. We have been holding back. We want to continue to develop with Time Inc. And trying to find publishers that can match the functionalities that Time Inc. has. They're a pretty special company, and that's part of why we chose them as the lead partner for this. But I can tell you that we have pretty much a who's who of the largest publishers in every country around the world that would like to participate in this. So to your question, there's a lot of people who want to do it, and they're starting to think about how, and we need to understand their infrastructure better. I've gotten a lesson in print in the past year that I never thought I would get. And to the question that was asked earlier, I think this represents an opportunity, which we're talking to Andy about how can we start to look at publishers and combine them across print programmatic, combine them across digital as well. So there's actually a pretty healthy pipeline of people who would like to get involved with this.
I just wanted you to know his hair was black before he started working on print. That's a true fact. So, any other questions? Yes, right here.
Two-part question. Have you worked yet with any luxury advertisers? And if not, how do you plan to work with them knowing that their mandatories and their guidelines are, I would say, more strict than some of the other mass advertisers out there?
So we haven't actually worked with any in print programmatic. We work very, very closely with them in digital programmatic. As a matter of fact, some of our earliest, largest buyers in our digital programmatic space were high-end luxury brands. We're extraordinarily sensitive to their needs, and because even though I said earlier we have issue and position flexibility, but I also remarked, but we make sure that we do what you want. That's we know how to service those clients. We know what their requirements are, whether it's in style or people or any of the other titles that we have. We know what's required. We will not let a client buy into this. It's not cheap space. It's not back-of-book space. So we'll make sure that they get the position that they need for that. And especially since we're not discounting this. So they deserve to be treated like any other IO buyer, and they are.
The other thing that I think is important about that question is that we launched this with a relatively simple offering in step one because we need to get it out into the market, because we could have spent a lot of time at the design table and not have gotten the feedback from the market that we're getting today, not have heard the different issues that different types of buyers might have or the different needs that they might have to have. And so as we're looking forward to version 2 and version 3, what's been great about this process, and part of why we haven't yet opened it up to the publishing world at large, has been the amount of feedback that we've been getting has been really instrumental in crafting crafting the next stages of the product. So we chose to start simply, chose to start small, and learn and iterate, because as important to us, a sale is important, but also the feedback about what it's going to take to make this product really be the mass-scaled offering that we think it can be. It should be driven by a conversation between buyer and seller, which is something that, at least in the digital space, is not very often done, and is something that we think is an important part of getting the product right.
One last question, I think. Anyone else? Oh, there's one right there.
Based on that feedback, what is the loudest embarrassing that you've heard from the community?
The amount of interest in this has been shocking. Right? We announced this. Target was our first customer. MediaMath partnership. Everything was going well. We were inundated with calls from publishers and advertisers, mainly print publishers and print advertisers, who just wanted to know more about how we were doing this, why we were doing it. And I would say that lasted for about 3 months straight of just going on call after call after call. The entire staff has been out there talking about print programmatic, and there's a lot of interest. It continues to grow. We want more publishers to enter the space. We think that will help all of print, and we think that's a good thing for the industry. And the interest levels have really not abated yet. So that was the one. We knew that there would be interest, but we were a bit shocked by just the amount of interest that we got for it, and it continues. So we know we're onto something really exciting here. We know we can put print into a new light and sell it in a new way that's really simple, and that's really that was ultimately what we wanted to do here. So with that, I'll leave you the message that this is easy to do, easier than it seems, and MediaMath is a great partner to work with to get it done. So we hope everyone will consider doing this in the future.
Yeah. The digital side, I think the most consistent piece of feedback is how can we help to participate in driving the next version of the product? How can we get it to be more and more like digital? So they want to start being able to contribute their own subscriber lists. They want to pay more to get more specific things. So I very rarely heard an advertiser come and say, well, if we could get this feature, or we could do it specifically to our list or specifically to a DMA, could we pay more for that? I usually hear
the answer is yes. You can pay more.
The answer is yes, and how would you like to do it?
Emphatically yes.
So that's been, for us, the most important part of the feedback has been, this is really interesting, how can we get involved today, and then how can we contribute to driving the roadmap so that we can start to action against more and more specific data within the print programmatic product.
Thank you.